Good evening. Thank you again for following my YouTube channel as this story develops. Please see my other videos on my channel for backstory and other issues regarding the Florida unemployment crisis in a more formal setting. Tonight's going to be a little more casual. This morning, Friday, April 24th, claimants woke up to a shutdown system until Monday morning in an effort to expedite processing of claims and payments. For those distant from this issue, the system is taken down nightly from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. for some similar processing and was also down for an extended weekend last weekend. While I completely understand the importance of working in the system offline and in order to speed up the painstakingly slow claim processing, this was done once again without advance notice or communication of any sort from the DEO. The IRS website, on the other hand, has a disclaimer saying that the site is being taken down overnight for a few hours the next few days for maintenance and processing. This is one reason among many others that I thought I would focus on communication for tonight's more informal, casual update. Let's go back to the beginning. Upon submitting my claim, I received a notice in my profile that I was to call immediately for identity verification. After a week of calls and dozens of failed attempts, and we'll talk about the phone lines soon, the notice was changed to no action required on your part. Little did claimants like myself know that action was required, and all affected claims had been temporarily lost in a void until this week. If you're interested in more detail regarding the black hole conundrum, please see my other recent videos. So let's start with the phone lines. The phone lines have been inaccessible since the beginning of this process, as I mentioned before. Endless calls result in a loop of a phone tree and a disconnected call. From the beginning, they mention a callback feature, however, it's disabled if the wait time was greater than 30 minutes. Needless to say, most frequently the automated response reports that this feature is disabled. In the rare occasion when someone is placed on hold, they will spend hours on hold just to be disconnected at the end of the business day or be met with a call center representative just as frustrated as the claimant and ending up rather useless, wasting everyone's time involved. Those in charge have added thousands of call center workers to assist with the volume of calls. Unfortunately, these workers are not armed with the latest updates, rules, and processes, which change by the day, if not the hour. Similarly, if the system is down for users, they are also unable to access it themselves in order to provide help. Frequently, claimants are met with representatives who are short, rushed, and dismissive when claimants are begging for help after finally getting a human contact on the phone. This is not exclusive. Some applicants have had great experiences with the customer service provided on the phone lines, but unfortunately it's not the majority. It seems like an awful game of roulette with very low odds. Will I get through the phone lines? Will I be offered a callback option? Will I be placed on hold? Will my call center worker be pleasant? Will they be able to even access the system and provide help? If you answered no to any of these questions, good luck. It seems as though this process will not get any better without more specific funnels on the system. Those with a claimant ID and/or claim number should be funneled into another phone line where specific help can be given. Also, if information is specifically solicited from the DEO, such as identity verification, additional details needed for processing, anything like that, a very locked down number, perhaps with a unique access code, should be offered in order to keep those claims moving and not have these claimants in the endless cycle of navigating the phone tree with everybody else. The phone system will continue to be a failure unless it's restructured, streamlined, and the call center workers being given specific and up-to-date information, as well as access to the system to assist with claims. Additional direct communication from the DEO could address a lot of the generic questions plaguing the phone systems. So the DEO has released this dashboard in an effort to not only share progress with the public, but also in an effort for the public to hold them accountable, as Secretary Satter states. What this also does is it represents the inconsistencies and change in momentum. When Secretary Satter was asked why the number of claims processed varied day to day, and not necessarily in an upward trend, he floundered and neglected to give a direct response. The media and lawmakers are trying to hold the DEO accountable for these numbers, but are met with fumbled responses. Maybe the weather will be his next excuse. Much like the virus, the DEO works better in a low humidity, chilled environment. From the very beginning, there's been an email address attached to identity verification. Immediately upon receiving my notice for identity verification, I sent an email with my driver's license, because at the time, that's all I felt comfortable sending in an unsecured email. Spoiler alert, I have yet to receive a response to that email sent now 4 weeks ago. From there, I sent a few submissions in via the contact form specifically created for the pandemic. Again, no response to any of those submissions. Fast forward to this week, and on Monday, when the black hole is being identified, in a desperate attempt to get verified and processed, I sent my driver's license, social security card, passport, birth certificate, secret family recipes, and a blood sample, all in hopes of making progress this week and my claim being seen and processed. Shortly after this email, and suggesting others in the black hole scenario do the same, the email filled to capacity and an auto response bounced back from that email server saying so. This auto response is perhaps the most direct communication anyone has ever gotten from the DEO. However, their fax machine seems to still be working, and this just might be the most illuminating piece of symbolism regarding how things are operating in Tallahassee. Waiting for that dial tone. Jonathan Satter, the new official in charge of the DEO in this crisis, has touted his 36-page FAQ document as an exhaustive resource which answers all or most claimant general questions. However, not only is this document poorly organized and self-contradicting, this document, which is constantly updated, does not highlight, bold, or otherwise call out changes or additions being made. Therefore, unless you've got your fine-tooth comb ready and hours of reading time dedicated to snoozing through this document, it's difficult to track changes in new rules. It's no wonder the public is confused when said document lists processes that have been waived by the governor as both waived and not needed, as well as active and imperative, both within several pages of each other in the same document. With a system that has processes that change by the hour, a more succinct, clear memo of updates and changes need to be made for the public to be able to self-educate. The DEO has finally started to respond to correspondence, especially to those in the media and government officials. Unfortunately, most responses are canned, weak, and lack detail or explanation. Often the emails glaze over basic processes, defining elementary and self-explanatory terms, including what pending and under review mean, as well as making generic and non-specific claims such as, the DEO remains committed to providing reemployment assistance to eligible Floridians as quickly as possible. No comment. Moving on. As mentioned earlier, waived requirements from the governor are being inconsistently represented by the DEO. While I can reasonably understand that it takes time to change the coding in the website to skip these functions and requirements, there's no direct communication or temporary verbiage supporting this effort. Claimants are confused, roadblocked, and don't know how to effectively move through the process because they're not being told how to do so. To perpetuate this, claimants are being determined ineligible due to not submitting the proper work search requirements, a requirement which Governor DeSantis waived nearly a month ago now. Similarly, call center workers are urging claimants to still claim their weeks in order to receive accurate benefits. But over a week prior, the governor waived this requirement, claiming it was to take effect immediately, with none of this action required moving forward. Can't we at least be singing the same song here? Again, you beg for patience, Secretary Satter, but perpetuate confusion, frustration, and mixed signals. I know I've said this several times in my videos, and I'm probably beating a dead horse here, but the governor's briefings are about as useful as the president's advice to drink bleach. Governor DeSantis not only avoids the topic of unemployment, but deflects, dodges, and diffuses any concern about the issues at hand. In the past week, he's not directly addressed the concern unless it's brought up in questions, and even then, he lacks the capability to directly address the concern. What would be the perfect venue for acknowledging the problem, addressing the concern, and discussing the action being taken has just driven Floridians to curse his name and hopefully cross him off the 2022 ballot. Meanwhile, he can keep patting himself on the back and falsely claim that the great job that he is doing. Not to mention, he keeps talking about having Secretary Satter attend a briefing to give an update. However, this is yet to happen. What gives? What are we waiting for? Why hasn't this happened? This isn't just a book club that he may be able to attend someday if his schedule frees up. We need answers now. While the governor keeps spouting insignificant numbers as a distraction to the true issues at hand and celebrates marginal success on his part, I'll be here banging my head into the Kofifi table. Over a week now, DeSantis announced that Secretary Jonathan Satter would be taking charge of the unemployment efforts. While Satter has certainly done many appearances with the media, we have yet to see a statement come directly from the secretary. In media interviews, he fumbles through answering questions, being as indirect, passive, and deflective as possible. It's time for him to discuss observations, challenges, and how he's attempting to address and solve the problems. He needs to acknowledge the system's fault and talk about how he is fixing the black hole, as well as several other issues. Instead of March claimants feeling forgotten and lost and not knowing what to do next, this is his opportunity to address the situation and let them know what steps he is taking to fix it. It's time for him to step up, be a leader, and communicate with the very citizens whose tax dollars pay his salary. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed my more casual approach with tonight's chat. Got a little sassy there. Stay tuned, as I'm sure there will be more to report, not only in this casual style, but also my more formal announcements. After all, these videos, among others, will be the fuel for the documentary in the future, right? Stay safe, stay inside, don't drink bleach. Have a good weekend.